Gets the white. He's in. Patriots win the Super Bowl.
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Patriots Touchback Podcast, Season 3, Episode 39. We are back off our bye week. I'm sure we've had a nice relaxing weekend of, not stressing or biting our fingernails at our games coming up. But we are back now for Week 15 coming up on Friday. We'll have our preview of the Bills game. Tonight, however, we are going to do something a little bit different since the New England Patriots are going to be in the postseason. We thought we would take a little look at the state of the AFC playoffs as they currently stand. I've got Kieran and Nick on standby with me tonight. So good evening, gentlemen. Hope we are all good. How have you enjoyed your bye week?
Yeah, too bad. Not too bad. I just want to say I can notice it on Nick's chest right there. Commiserations to Nick about the absolute travesty that Notre Dame were left out of the college football playoffs. He's on mute, by the way. I don't know if he knows it.
Nick, you're on mute.
You've been on mute this entire time, Nick.
See, that's the thing. I was absolutely livid.
Go on, we'll let you have your moment. Come on, spill it, because I agree.
Look, at some point, and I made this point on the college show, also on the AAW network. As they were making the selections, we were doing a live sort of watch, and I made this point that while I agree the head-to-head must count at some point, and it should count because Miami did beat Notre Dame. One, they beat him in week 1 when we didn't have an identity and our QB was a freshman. Since then, they've lost to 2 unranked teams, whereas we lost to 2 ranked teams by a total of 4 points. Not once did we lose. We beat all our opponents double digits. I really am. I'm not pissed. I'm not pissed that Miami got in. I'm pissed that the selection committee got it all wrong. And yeah, I'd calmed down. I had calmed down for the last 2 days. Thanks for that. I've just riled myself all up again. So yeah, brilliant. Great. Thank God City beat Sunderland at the weekend. Otherwise, I'd have been in big trouble.
I don't know where to go with this. Obviously, my Michigan Wolverines, they didn't get in because obviously we lost to Ohio State. So yeah, that's it. That's all it is to be written on that one.
It's the inconsistency. It's the inconsistency and bias of selection from the CFP. That's where the problem lies. You mark BYU down for losing a conference championship, but you don't mark Alabama down, who got absolutely battered. And by marking BYU down, you then move Miami up, and that's what brings the head-to-head in. So that was purposely what they were always going to do. And the fact that they didn't move Alabama down, because if they'd moved Alabama down, Alabama wouldn't have qualified, and it'd have been Notre Dame and Miami. And God forbid Alabama missed 2 college playoffs in 2 years. So it's just the committees, just the selection process is all wrong and it's broken.
It's very SEC driven, is what I would probably describe it as. It's very SEC driven. However, I will rebuttal you on a couple of things. First of all, you're an independent school, you're an independent university, therefore you choose your own schedule or whoever it is that you face. So if you have to,
we play an ACC schedule,
but you're not in the ACC.
No, but we play an ACC schedule. We are ACC heavily scheduled because apart from football, all our Olympic sports play in the ACC. The 24 sports that Notre Dame compete in, 23 of them play in the ACC. The only one that doesn't play in the ACC is football. Come on, let's move on. I was quite happy until you riled me up again. Let's go.
Well, it wasn't me that brought it up. It was bloody Kira. So don't.
I mean, look. What I will say is that the whole idea that it's a selection committee is the most corrupt thing I've ever heard. Like, it should be earned by specific qualifications and requirements based on your overall achievements throughout the season. Like the fact that a group of old men are essentially deciding who goes to the playoffs and who doesn't is just completely wrong. Can you imagine that was the case for like the Champions League? Like it would be horrendous. Like it gets slaughtered. So wise they're allowed to get away with it, I don't know.
Yeah, but remember, you can't compare the two sports because the system is completely different on either side of things. So, what I don't understand is how the hell did James Madison and Tulane get in? What, because they won their respective conferences? That is worse than the ACC.
They're going to get.
Well, no, they got in. They got in because the ACC champion Duke was unranked. So the rules are.
Surprise! So the ACC is full of shit. Basically, is that what they're trying? Is that what they're trying? Is that what the committee's trying to say?
The top five ranked champions get in, and because Duke were unranked, it meant that the ACC champion forfeited their position, which went down to the second best G5 conference, which was James Madison.
I mean, I don't have a college team personally. I do have. If I did have one, it would be USC because it's the only team I've watched live in the Coliseum. So, but if I was a USC fan, I'd be equally as disappointed because they never make the playoffs. So,
plus, you'd find it hilarious that Notre Dame got kicked out because Notre Dame are the USC rivalry game. So,
yeah, Anyway, right. Enough college talk. This is not. If you want to join the college day podcast,
college talk, come and listen to the College Football UK podcast, which is recorded on a Wednesday and will be in your inboxes on Thursday morning. Should you wish to subscribe, go for it. It's great.
And on that note, let's crack on with the actual Patriots show. So, New England have come off a bye with 11-2. We're sitting top of the AFC East. We're sitting second, tied first right now in the AFC. Obviously, Denver have the tiebreaker over us because obviously this coming week. I mean, we would hope that the Raiders would try and do us a favor in beating Denver, but that would be me saying that would be really difficult to try and comprehend. The Raiders doing us a favor. Yeah, no, that was never, ever going to happen. So as a result of that, not only do Denver tie level with us, but because they now own the head-to-head tiebreakers over the Raiders, and because we lost to the motherfuckers in week 1, Denver now holds that tiebreaker, which means if it was to end right now, New England would have the second seed, would have to play the 7th seed in the wild card round. Denver would get home field advantage. So there is still a lot to play for. We're going to talk about our team first, and we'll move down. We'll go through each team. So we'll start off. Obviously, we'll start with the Patriots because this is a Patriots podcast, obviously. Kez, coming off the bye week, there's we've got some reports going around that apparently Will Campbell, he's got his brace on his knee, is now off from what I've been hearing, which is really good to see. And in practice, we had Kyrie's Tonga return and Jared Wilson, left guard, return as well. Those are 2 big pieces that we need for this coming Sunday against the Bills. What has been... Just recap what you've seen for the Pats so far this season, because I think we could all conveniently agree none of us were expecting us to be 11-2 by week 15.
No, I don't think we were. I think things have gone a lot better than planned, and we've won games that we could have either put down as coin flips or potential losses. That Raiders week 1 loss is looking very strange because I know that week 1 throws up a lot of odd results, but like if we played them now, like it would be an absolute slaughter. It would, like, we'd absolutely annihilate them. They're terrible. Pittsburgh are a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team. You can kind of take that one. I mean, I know it was a bit bit grim in the manner that it happened with all the fumbles, but he can kind of you can take the rough with the smooth with that one. But yeah, since then we've been great. You know, we've rode our luck a little bit in some games. You know, in the games that have been a lot closer than they should have been, notably Atlanta and Cincinnati. But ultimately, we have won 10 games in a row for only the fourth time in the last 25 years. So yeah, we're in a good position. We've got a pretty decent finish to the season. I think this Sunday is by far the toughest remaining fixture. Spoiler alert, I am absolutely nowhere near nervous about playing the Baltimore Ravens because I think they're shit. So I think 3-1 as a worst case scenario. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we beat Buffalo this weekend. We've already beaten them once this season. You know, they needed, you know, a Joe Burrow brain fart at the weekend to see that game out. So if we win on Sunday, I do feel like we will go 4-0 in the remaining games. But I think 3-1 is probably enough to not only clinch the division, but you'd like to think 3-1 with Denver's upcoming schedule as well. Like that should be enough to get the 1 seed. We finish 14-3. So yeah, that's kind of where I see us being.
14-3 sounds quite realistic, to be honest with you. I personally would be thinking of, right, you do over the Bills, you do over the Ravens, you do over the Jets, and then you're crossing your fingers and hoping to die here that Denver have lost a game in their stretch, which we'll get to Denver later on. Nick, what about you? What about your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm worried. Worried's probably a bit of an overstatement. I'm cautious that there's still a banana skin there somewhere, and I'm not going to sit here and accuse Vrabel and the Patriots of not being ready in any game that they go into. I'm sure they will be, but I've just got a feeling that one of these games is going to, because we all expect, well, most of us expected the Bengals game to be easier than it was, and it wasn't. I think of all of us, my score was closest, I believe.
It was, but you don't get a cookie for your effort.
I get that, but even back then, I was like, I don't think this game's going to be as easy as people think it's going to be, and I still think there's a banana skin somewhere. I don't want it to be the Bills. It could be the Ravens, and my only other worry is the Dolphins because they have picked up in form recently.
Well, the only way we see you worried about the Dolphins is if Denver go undefeated, because their final game of Week 18 is against the Chargers.
Yeah, but
and at that point, if Denver got the number 1 seed sewn up, it would not at all surprise me if Vrabel just said we'll just dust off Week 18. Then we're guaranteed the 2nd seed. Let's rest some starters up. Let's get them ready for wildcard weekend.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's my only issue. I think we are more than professional enough to see the season out. I think we are the best team in the division. But I am cautious that there is a banana skin floating somewhere. Typical Mario Kart. Someone's going to throw one at us, and I don't know when it's coming.
I think, like Carl just said about, if we're locked into the 2nd seed, do you kind of use Week 18 as a potential extra bye week? I feel like that could be the case, even if we have the 1 seed wrapped up. I think if there's something to play for on the final day of the season, we go all out to win that game. But I think if nothing is on the line at all, then you're probably likely going to see a lot of backups, and you're going to see Josh Dobbs, and that could be where a loss comes from, because we saw what Buffalo done last year against us in Week 18, where they basically brought Josh Allen onto the field to take the first snap, then pulled him out, and then Joe Milton went in looking like prime Michael Vick, and ended up costing us the number 1 overall pick. It all worked out in the end, but that's where I could potentially see that being a slip up if we end up like playing just a load of backups in Week 18. But I don't fear the Jets. They're terrible. But I do want to credit the Dolphins, to be fair, because when we had Dolphin UK on the podcast, the preview, all the way back in week, what was it, week 3, week 4?
Week 3.
Yeah, whatever. Or was it week 2? I don't know. It was early, first month of the season, we'll say. I'll just cover all bases there. They've just been absolutely annihilated by the Colts, and I think people were fearing the worst. And for the first few weeks of the season, Miami were awful. They couldn't stop the run to save their life. And now look at them. They're sat there, having won 6 games, and they're on course to potentially finish 500. I know you can't get exactly 500 anymore, but they're one game back from having an even record. So their resurgence has been pretty good. So credit to them. But yeah, like I said, I think this is the real test this weekend. If we can get the division sewn up on Sunday, I don't worry about the final games of the season at all. I think we're in a good place.
The one thing I will, because I mentioned this last week to you, Kieran, and I don't know if Nick has heard the latest episode or whatnot, but I did mention to say about Vrabel's impeccable record when coming off a bye week as a head coach.
Yeah,
being 6-0. Now, I know the Bills are going to be a tougher test to deal with, but Vrabel has already talked about. We went on a couple of radio stations. I'm not going to name their names because they're idiots anyway. But he's basically said this is a week where we have the opportunity to win our first championship. So he's drilling it into the team already. This is for the AFC East. You go out there, you win the AFC East against this team. Yeah, so I don't think the Patriots realize that although the Bills have come away and squeaked by against the Bengals, the Bills know that this defense will not give them an inch.
Yeah, I think that shows great mindset and mentality heading into this weekend. It's been referenced as a hats and t-shirts game in terms of you win the game and you've sewn the division up, and you can celebrate that with the commemorative merch that they always bring out. But
but the thing is though, is that I'm sorry if we're so like stuck up our own asses type of thing, but we don't really care about AFC East winning t-shirts and caps. No,
it's usually more of a metaphor, like for winning the division. But we've not won the division since 2019. The Bills have won the last 5, and it's time that normal service resumes. So I think that shows that they're dead focused on winning this weekend to ensure that we have the division sewn up. That seals the postseason, and then the mindset will switch to right. Well, now we'll get the best possible seeding in the conference. So yeah, I think we're in a really, really good place. Sunday will be tough, but we've already beaten them once. They're definitely not as good as they have been in past years. So it's a real opportunity for us to now stamp down our authority and get the division won first and foremost.
And yet the Bills have had some scares since the last time we played them. They've lost 3 games, one of them being to the Houston Texans defense, in which they completely ravished Josh Allen. I still think the Bills are threat. I've said this on a few things now, and that's the fact that the Bills now, but you look at this right now, Cincy are, I would say they're mathematically eliminated, but they're not quite eliminated, if that makes much sense. They could still go 8-9, but that ain't going to be enough to win the division, and definitely not a playoff spot. I find it quite strange, really, in this season, that the playoffs, that the actual winning your division is actually more achievable than it is to get a wild card. That is shocking. That just tells you how upside down the league has been all season long. So as I said, Cincy are out. I'll probably say they're out anyway. Kansas City, they also lost to Houston. Now their season is on life support. There's a chance they could still get in, but holy crap, they're going to need to beat the Chargers this Sunday. Otherwise, it's game over for them. And then there's Baltimore, who, as you've described already, Kieran, they're not looking like the same Baltimore Ravens. I mean, what did I say? I was on that Sports Network doing the TSS Fantasy on Sunday afternoon. I basically said I had the Ravens beating the Steelers, but I said, but it would not surprise me if the Steelers pulled the metaphorical horseshoe out of their ass and actually win this game. And guess what? The Steelers done it and pulled the 4-leaf clover out of it as well, because they somehow got away with it. Because that Isaiah likely catch, that was a touchdown. I don't care what anybody says. That was a bloody shit call from the refs.
The Steelers are doing my head in, because every time I pick them to win, they lose, and then every time I pick them to lose, they win.
Stop picking the Steelers.
Can't quite work them out, to be honest. They're a very, very strange team. But the Ravens are, you look at them as a team defensively, massively underperforming considering the names and the talent they've got on that side of the ball. You would expect them to be a lot better than what they have been. They've got some real stud players on that defense that are massively underperforming. You think about you kind of spearhead that defense with Kyle Hamilton, with Roquan Smith, with Madubuike, but they've got great players outside of that that are just not playing up to standard. Then you go to the offensive side of the ball, like, I've made my feelings quite clear about Lamar Jackson. He has not looked the same that you would expect since he's returned from his injury. He's turning the ball over more than he's putting the ball in the end zone. He looks completely frazzled when he has to put the team on his back and throw the ball down the field. He doesn't really have a lot of surrounding talent either. And then Derrick Henry looks like Ramondre Stevenson at times, in terms of looks like he's running in treacle. I think Henry's lost a step as well. He doesn't seem to, gain yards off the contact as much. He doesn't seem to be able to burst free. But then again, he's an older running back that's taken a lot of carries over the last few years. So naturally, there's going to be some tread on the tires. So, and then you pair that with the Ravens' offensive line, which has always been a strength for the Ravens. You think many, many years, going back to the early 2000s, the Ravens have always had a good offensive line, but they've had a lot of changes on that line the last few years. And aside from Linderbaum and a fully fit Ronnie Stanley, the rest of that line is pretty poor. So I don't think that they're anything to worry about. They've lost, 6 and 7 on the season. They've lost their last 2. They're beatable. They are absolutely beatable.
Their away record is better than their home record. And who needs to go to Empty Bank Stadium when they actually win better on the road anyway? On the road, they're 3-2. At home, they're 3-5.
And I know I've pitched this narrative for the last 2 years on this show about Lamar choking in big games, but here we go again. It's another situation on Sunday against the Steelers in terms of a shootout for the division lead. Whoever wins the game will lead the AFC North, be in pole position for the postseason. And once again, he fucked it. Sorry, excuse my French, but he did. And he's been outplayed by a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. And when he can't run, I mean, yes, he scored a rushing touchdown in the game, but water is wet. When he has to put the team on his back as a passer, he can't do it. And this is why I'm confident about us winning this game, because if it comes down to an arms race of passing the ball through the air to try and put points on the board, Drake May is 100% a better passer than Lamar Jackson. So if it comes down to playing traditional quarterback, we have the advantage in this game, 100%.
So regarding the Ravens, there was some news that came out yesterday, and you broke the news. You broke the news on the group chat, actually, Kieran, and that was the fact that the game against the Ravens has now been flexed to Sunday Night Football. Great. That means another day of me going to work on 2 hours sleep. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, obviously, it's great in the grand scheme of things that they've moved the game.
But it's not good on this side of the pond. It's 1:20 in the morning. Come on.
It is. But I can't wait for Drake May to show Lamar Jackson how to play quarterback on prime time. I genuinely believe that we have the QB advantage in that game. Lamar isn't it. You keep him in the pocket, you can beat them.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I feel like this is Nick when with the kind of the trade back scenario from the draft talk last season, and he was like, "I will die on this hill so that we have to trade back. I will die on this hill that Lamar Jackson is a fraud."
That's a bold hill. That's a bold hill to die
It's a
on.
bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Oh.
Anyway, so the Ravens on the outside looking in. Kansas City, a loss again, this time to the Houston Texans, getting absolutely beaten in their own backyard, 20-10. Patrick Mahomes, that's the worst game. That is the worst game I've ever seen him play.
That Houston defense is unbelievable, though. They are winning games on there because Houston have such a bad offense. They can't seem to, you watch even against Kansas City. You watch them this week, and they really struggle to. If Kansas were what it was fourth and 1 at the 30 something, I think it was. And me personally, I'd have kicked that. I'd have punted that because the Houston offense was absolutely terrible and they were struggling for yardage, but yet the defense can win games on their own. They put their offense in such good positions that, that's a worry for anybody that's going to come up against. If Houston make the playoffs, which I expect them to, because they are going to be a worry for anybody.
So as it currently stands right now, it's not. There we go. So there's Houston right now. They're sitting at 8-5, 4-2 and 4-3 home and away record. Divisional record, they're 4-1, so they're absolutely lethal right now. Conference, they have a 7-2 record. They have a 5-game win streak as it currently stands right now. They're sitting 1 game currently back behind Jacksonville. I'm not sure if when that game ended, Jacksonville victory or Houston victory.
I'm now looking at their schedule. 1 second.
The Colts are in free fall with they've just had Daniel Jones ruled out for the season. They're in free fall despite their excellent start. Jacksonville are on a winning streak, but that's because Trevor Lawrence has stopped dropping a bollock every game. But I don't expect that to last. He's another one. He's this QB that's supposed to be amazing, and I don't see it. He drops bollocks everywhere. So he may be on a roll, but I don't expect him to hold that. And I really do expect Houston to overtake Jacksonville for the number 1 spot.
I can't believe we're talking about Jacksonville being 9-4 in division lead. When you actually watch them, like
they split.
I 100% agree on Trevor Lawrence. Like I think when their defense is pretty good, and they've got pieces like Jacoby Myers has been excellent since he's been traded there. Like, I agree with you, Nick. I don't expect Jacksonville to hold on to it. That might be because we're just used to the Jags being shit every year. So it might be a little bit of a recency bias. But I'm just looking. The Texans split 1-1 with the Jags this season, so they've won 1 each. But the Texans have got Arizona, the Raiders, the Chargers, and then the Colts at home without a quarterback in their final 4 games. At very worst, the Texans are going 3-1. So what does that put them on? 11 wins?
11-6, yeah.
11-6.
And Jacksonville's running is.
I'm now looking.
I know they got Denver. They got Denver. Has they got Denver next?
They've got the Jets this weekend at home. They then go on the road to the Broncos, on the road to the Colts once again without a QB, and then where's it gone? Where does it keep skipping through? Where the hell is it gone?
I just think it's that game that Jacksonville have got to go to Denver that could be the switch that switches them around. So, I know we got onto Houston because we were talking Chiefs sort of thing, but both with regards to the AFC South and the AFC West, with the exception of the Texans and the Broncos, there's nothing coming out of those 2 divisions that the Patriots should be worried about at all. If they play like they've played all year, there's nothing that worries me coming out of those 2 divisions at all.
Yeah, I think you necessarily wouldn't want to play Houston with their defense at the moment. Like I think Jacksonville, they're kind of, as much as they're leading their division at the moment, they would almost be a best case scenario for you to face in the divisional round if we get the bye. I feel like if we play the Jags at home, we beat them. Then again, we are undefeated on the road as well. They're kind of a best case scenario. Houston, obviously, a little bit different because defensively they're kind of dominating everyone at the moment. So yeah, we'll see about them. If Houston end up winning the division, that could make things interesting. I think with Indianapolis, like, it shows that like the classic, the season's not won after 8 weeks, because 8 weeks into the season we were talking about the Colts being a Super Bowl contender. Daniel Jones is in the MVP race. They were like 7-1. They looked like they were going to go all the way, be the favorite for the AFC, and they've gone. And then they trade for Sauce Gardner with 2 first-round picks. And you're thinking, Christ, the Colts mean business this year. And now we're looking at a scenario where if they don't get a quarterback, which Phillip Rivers isn't helping that situation, let's be honest, they could lose their final 4 games. They're on the road to Seattle this week, which I can't imagine Notre Dame legend Riley Leonard getting the win in Seattle. They could be looking at 8-9 and missing the playoffs altogether. So to go from where they were to being 8-5 and potentially finishing 8-9 and not making the playoffs, like, that is the collapse of all collapses.
The only way they'll get in now is if Jonathan Taylor completely goes AWOL. That's the only way they're going to get in now, because it's Jonathan Taylor now and no one else. I mean, Riley Leonard, he might be able to get the ball down the field, but they've got to put points on the board, and they struggle to do that against Jacksonville, who I think defensively, Jacksonville are pretty good. But the issue I have with Jacksonville is Trevor Lawrence. He's just far, far too inconsistent for my liking. Now, there are games where he can actually look like the number 1 overall pick many, many years ago. And then there are games where he could play in like an absolute asshat. So I don't know about Jacksonville. I generally don't.
I mean, like,
go on it.
If it finished as it did, we would have to face Houston and Buffalo would face Jacksonville in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If it finished as it does. And that's just not a nice thought. That's why you really want to do Houston turning that round. Yeah.
Yeah. We want the bye, or we need Houston to lose a couple of games, or Houston to win, and because it currently stands right now. Hang on, let me standing.
Denver have a bye. Houston would face New England. Buffalo would face Jacksonville, and the Chargers would face Pittsburgh. So I've got the playoff picture in front of me.
It's not giving me the right thing. Fuck off, ESPN. Why are you doing this to me? Oh, there we go. There we go. Now it makes sense. There we go. That's how it currently stands right now. So yeah, as it currently stands right now, Chargers will go to the Steelers, Bills will go to the Jags, Texans go to the Pats. But there is a but if New England beat the Bills and the Texans win, who are the Texans playing again? Did you say?
Texans are playing Arizona this weekend.
When Texans will win that game easy, then. So if we beat the Bills and the Jags will win and the Texans will win. But when we beat the Bills, then the Bills will drop to the 7th seed. And then they will have to face Denver,
which would give us.
But then again, there is the opportunity at Denver. The problem is, let's have a look at Denver, because that is bugging the crap out. That is absolutely bugging the crap out of me. So standings. So there we go. Denver, Chargers, Chiefs, and the rate. Well, forget them; they're out. Denver sit at 11-2. As it currently stands right now, their running is as follows. They got to play. They got to play Jacksonville. Then they got to play at home to the Packers. Then on the road to the Chiefs, and then week 18 against the Chargers. Bearing this in mind, the Chargers are only 2 games back behind Denver, and The Chargers own the tiebreaker over the Broncos. So if it comes to week 18 and the Chargers are either level with Denver or they are one game back, the Chargers then win that game. They could actually nick the AFC West off Denver. I kind of don't want that to happen because I think Denver then will end up having to play. They'll play the Steelers and Denver will have to come up to us.
I think as long as you can avoid going to Mile High, that isn't as much of a challenge as people think. Now, don't get me wrong. Denver's defense is phenomenal, like arguably best in the league. You know, you look at their Carl, they've given up 235 points this season, which obviously is less than Houston, who also got an excellent defense. But here's where they go wrong. 308 points scored. That's less than the Ravens, who have won 6 games. Bearing in mind that Ravens have not looked the same on offense, and for most of the season have not had Lamar Jackson. Even though as much as I buried him on this podcast, he's still their starting quarterback and is better than the shit they were putting out earlier in the season.
Well, say that. Look, Broncos PA 235. We're 241.
Yeah.
We're not a million miles behind them.
But the difference is we've scored 351 points and they've scored 308.
Yeah, so in a shootout, you expect New England to win that game.
So,
you
like,
expect them to anyway.
They just don't. They don't score enough points for you to think that if you're at home against them that you're going to struggle. Like I said, they're defensively amazing, and with them being at Mile High, that plays into their advantage with the stadium, with the altitude. Like that would turn into a defensive scrap trying to knock them off at home. I feel like the game is a different game script if they are on the road. You look at that, you know, they're 5-2 on the road, but unbeaten at home. I think if you can try and get them away from Mile High, then you can beat them. Like they're still a good team. Don't get me wrong. They very much remind me of the last time they won the Super Bowl, which I hope isn't history repeating itself. But you think about that 2015 Broncos team that won the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning was appalling that final season. The wheels have completely come off. Brock Osweiler didn't look much better, but they still won the Super Bowl because they had the best defense in the NFL. So it very much reminds me of that. But yeah, they'll be a tough opponent. Will they still get the 1 seed? You know, we spoke about the 2-game tiebreaker that they potentially have over us now with the Raiders swing. Like, will that factor in come the end of the season? I'm not sure that will even come down to that. I still think they've got a couple of losses in their schedule. People might think the same about us, but I think when all's said and done, I think we might just edge them out.
It's all ifs, buts, and maybes as far as I'm concerned. New England do have the easier schedule. Denver do have the last part of the hardest run in. But it's all about on the day. And, you know, we can't keep looking too far ahead saying we could beat this team, this team, this team, this team. We concentrate on Buffalo. That's our first important game, as you said. Lock up the AFC East, get that over and done with, then think, right, okay, now we go after the number 1 seed. Because there is a case in scenario, okay, where they say remember, Baltimore plays Cincinnati again. If Cincinnati win, Baltimore drop to 6-8. And if the Steelers beat the Dolphins, they move up to 8-6. That's a 2-game swing with the Steelers having the tiebreaker with 3 games left to play. Baltimore might be in life support mode by the time we play them.
I actually think they will get beat this weekend because the Bengals have always been a bit of a bogey team for them. And Burrow always seems to show up against the Ravens, and so does Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase's stat line against the Ravens in recent times is pretty good. The Bengals beat them the last time these two teams played, and it's in Cincinnati. And like we said, the Bengals are essentially on life support now. You know, they need to win out and get help to have a chance because 8-9 probably isn't going to be enough to win the division. But while they're still not mathematically out of it, they'll still go for it. I think the Bengals will beat Ravens this weekend, puts the Ravens at 6-8, you'd probably fancy the Steelers to beat Miami. So, like, you could be right, Carl. Like, the Ravens could be literally on death's door by the time that we play them in a couple of weeks.
But that will make them more deadlier. That will make them more
to a certain extent. But then when you're in that situation where you've lost 3 in a row and the division's slipping away from you, the one team you don't want to face is potentially a team coming in on an 11-game win streak. You don't want to see New England coming in your building on prime time when you're struggling. So
especially the fact where Mike Vrabel has also pulled your pants down numerous times. I forgot to mention as well. Vrabel's head coaching record against the Ravens is 7-3 all time.
Yeah.
So it's not like he doesn't know how to beat the Ravens.
So yeah, it makes it interesting. But yeah, I think I wouldn't be concerned. I do if Cincy get that win this weekend, that could be huge in terms of setting us up for next weekend on Sunday Night Football.
We expecting the Steelers to go one and done. I think the Steelers will probably now win they'll probably get 9-8. They'll bullshit their way to a 500 record. Everyone will praise Tomlin again when they get bounced in the first round. Is that the same script we're seeing over and over again with the Steelers?
Probably. Yeah, I would say that if you look at the current playoff picture at the moment, Carl, you said with the 7 teams that are in it at the moment, they are probably the weakest team left in the playoff picture. And that's it. I'd say that they're even weaker than Jacksonville at this stage. You know, we should never have lost to them. They have scraped for a few games. I think they'll go one and done. I don't think they're that good this year. I think they've been very fortunate in the sense that they have turned up in some important moments, but the rest of their division being absolutely like dog shit has really played into their hands. This reminds me of what division was it a few years ago? Was it Washington when they won the division at 8 and 9?
NFC East, yeah.
Yeah. Just reminds me of that, where every team's poor, but someone has to win it. And I think that's the case with the Steelers.
The Luigi won by doing nothing meme is basically what Washington was doing on that one. I'll tell you what, let's go through this one by one. So I don't have a table lined up here, but let's go back to the playoff standings. So we're gonna do this all in unison. We're gonna pick this together as a team. There can't be any tiebreakers because there's 3 of us on. So obviously one answer will stand. First of all, we'll start from 1. We'll work all our way down. Who gets home field advantage? Who gets the bye? Nick?
Patriots.
Kieran?
This team right here. Yeah, we will.
I've also thrown up some attire for my background as well. My Randy Moss jersey.
Randy Moss jersey.
It's a Reebok Randy Moss jersey as well. They're flipping very rare as well.
I think we will get the tiebreaker. It's not the tiebreaker. I think we will get the 1 seed by 1 game. I think it will be really close.
Agreed. I think we'll go 4. I think we'll go 14-3, and the Broncos will. So I think we'll in agreement, and the Broncos go for 13-4.
Yeah. 13.
Who are they losing? 14. Who are they losing to?
Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chargers.
You think they lose to LA?
Yeah.
I think KC will be out of the picture by then.
Yeah.
They would want to stick it up to Denver saying, "Oh, well done for winning the division, but you want the number 1 seed, do you?" Nah, not in our building.
You're forgetting the Chargers have now got all-pro corner James P. Sullivan from Monsters University playing defensive back. Awesome. And their offensive line is a fucking Victoria Sponge. It's got no Herbert's got no protection. He's playing with fucking one hand, for Christ's sake. Hello. And Mike Wazowski returning punt.
He's a big guy, JP Sullivan. Oh, is he a big guy?
No, I don't know. The Chargers have really surprised me because you kind of look at their situation and think yes, their O-line's a bit of an issue, and defensively, at times they can be a little bit suspect. But then they've gone and picked up some huge wins in the last few weeks. Nobody had it on their bingo card that they'd knock off the Eagles.
They've
So,
been
like,
so
yeah,
unfortunate with injuries as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
this
You
is
know,
what you're
when
going to
they
get
think,
from a Jim Harbaugh team, you know.
yeah, they lost Joe Alt early, and you know they lost. Who
Rashawn
else did they
Slater.
lose? Sean Slater, that's the one I was thinking.
Look,
You know,
Rashawn Slater
so
first, and then
they
Joe
lost
Alt.
Amarian Hampton for 5 weeks, I think it was.
More
So
than
you
that.
know, 6, yeah, whatever it was. They've really suffered with injuries. I think had they stayed fully fit, they would have been running Denver very, very close for the title.
Well, do you know want to know a weird stat? I found this out today. In primetime games, the Chargers are 5-0.
Yeah.
And their
I think
only
Justin
primetime
Herbert-
game left would probably end up being the Denver game if it was meant to go that far.
I think Justin Herbert playing as well as he has done, considering the injury he's got at the moment, is pretty remarkable. He's had an excellent season.
He needs to get the hell out of LA. He needs to get the hell out of Chargers because he's getting killed. He's getting killed behind that, whatever the hell that offensive line, that cream puff offensive line is. He's getting killed. He got sacked
that line held up fine against the Eagles last night. So
he got sacked 7 times. What are you talking about?
yeah, but they still won the game.
Yeah, thanks to Jalen Hurts throwing 4 interceptions. I've never, in my entire life, I've never seen a quarterback have a fumble and then throw an interception on the same play. Like, what in the living God? Oh, but AJ Brown dropped a pass. He had 100. He had over 100 yards receiving on 8 catches. He weren't the problem. Neither was Saquon Barkley.
It wouldn't totally shock me if the Chargers still won that division, but I think obviously being 2 games back, I think it makes things more tough.
I probably wouldn't want that to happen because that basically means then Denver and Houston are basically wild card teams, and whichever fucking way you spin it, we're probably going to face one of them in the divisional round. So I'd rather face out at least only one of them just to kick them out.
It's pick your poison really with those teams, because if you face Houston or Denver, you've got to face the 2 elite defenses in the NFL. But if you face the Chargers, you're going up against a quarterback who is just as good as yours, if not better than yours. Whereas when we play against Denver and Houston, like May is better than Bo Nix and CJ Stroud, like quite clearly. So that's a leg up in itself. So you almost want to avoid coming up against a QB that can absolutely rip you to shreds. I'd rather take my chances against someone who's not as good on offense and just see if you can battle through the defense.
Okay, so going for the first and second seed. So, who's going to take the 3rd seed? Are we saying Jacksonville, or do you reckon?
I think it's going to be Houston.
You think Houston as well?
Yeah.
What's their record going to be?
Add 3 to whatever it is now, at least.
Yeah, 11-6.
4.
So they're going to go 11-6. Okay, that's definitely going to get them in. And who's the unlucky bastard at the AFC North then?
Well,
I'm going to pick Cincinnati, you know.
They can't get in.
They can if they win out.
Hang on. Since you're 4-9, the only thing they can go is 8-9. Steelers are 7-6.
Carl, can I just change?
Steelers need to win 2 games, and the Bungles can't get there. They bungled. They had to win out before the Bills game.
Carl, can I just change my selection actually for the 3rd seed? Because I've just seen who this wouldn't load for me earlier. I've just seen who the Jags have got in their final game. So the Jags have got the Jets at home in their next game. They then go on the road to the Broncos, which I think they'll lose, right? So that puts them on 10 wins, right?
Yep.
Colts without a quarterback on the road. I think they'll probably win that. So that's 11 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Final game is home to Titans. So they're gonna they'll I think they'll also go 3-1 in their final games, and they'll be 12-5. So I think they'll just edge it over Houston.
This is like the CFP committee here. We need to make a decision. Nick, are you going to change your mind or what?
No, I'll stick with Houston. The way I've been watching them over the past few, and I'm pretty sure Trevor Lawrence is going to drop a clanger somewhere. He always does. So I will stick with my pick of the Houston Texans to win.
I would prefer it
the
to be
AFC
Houston.
South.
So the Jags are going to go 12-5. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, I think so. When you've got Jets and Titans in 2 of your final 4 games, then
Okay, well now you're giving me the Jags slate. I will change my mind. So I will have the
Oh,
Jags.
you soft ass!
No.
You soft ass!
No. And I mean, if the Jags beat bloody Denver, then obviously they could win that. They could go 4-0, and they could then they could take the 2nd seed off Denver. Maybe, I don't know. Just paraphrasing here. So you're saying Cincinnati are going to take the 4th seed? Is that what you're saying, Nick?
I think they could do, but that division, it's pick anybody. I really don't. Oh,
It's piss poor, is what it is.
they're all as shit as each other. I hate Aaron Rodgers. Lamar Jackson's a twat. Joe Burrow. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to stick with Cincinnati just because I picked them, and that's the way it is. So
Okay,
Kieran,
Kieran.
I get outvoted.
Kieran, where's your common sense, mate?
I'm going to have to go with the Steelers. I just think they've left it a little bit too late, Cincinnati, unfortunately. And a lot of that has not been their fault. Obviously, if Burrow would have come back earlier.
The question is, are the Steelers going to go 9-8? What's their running?
I'm just looking at the Bills at the moment. Sorry.
If you pick Baltimore, how do we work that out?
I'm not picking Baltimore.
No, but
Steelers,
but if Carl picks Baltimore,
Steelers have got Dolphins.
Pick someone different.
Steelers have got Dolphins, Lions on the road, away to Browns, home to Ravens. But the Browns did just lose at home to Tennessee, so I don't know if I can have any confidence in that at the moment.
Oh my god!
They'll lose to Detroit, so that's already 7 losses. I mean, do you know what? With the way Miami are playing at the moment, would it totally shock you if the Dolphins beat the Steelers this weekend? It really wouldn't.
Nope.
Nope, it wouldn't surprise me. I still think Miami
and
won't
that's
get
why
in
I'm saying
Cincinnati. I think there's 2 losses in that final schedule. Dolphins, Lions, Browns, Ravens. I think there's 2 losses in there. So that would put them at what? 9 and 8. Yeah.
So Steelers 9-8 then?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Might the Steelers get away with the bullshit again? Okay. The first wild card. Who are we picking? Is it staying as it is?
Jacksonville.
Well, you can't because me and Kira have chosen Jacksonville to win the division. So it's
in which case then Houston will be number 5.
Houston's number 5.
Yeah, they will.
Okay, fair enough. So Texans will be the number 5 seed. Where are they? 8 and 5. So where are they going to end up? 11 and 6.
At least, if not 12 and 5.
12 and 5 against Jacksonville's a tiebreaker. So I think it'll be 11 and 6. I think the Texans will have 2 losses on their schedule. Okay, who takes the 6th seed?
Chargers for me.
He's going Chargers. What about you, Kieran?
I have Buffalo winning 2 of their final 4 games, so that gives them 11 wins.
That means they lose the tiebreaker to the Texans. Chargers running is not that easy.
Chargers have got Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, and then Broncos. I'm going to take Buffalo to get the 6th seed. I think they've got a much easier run in. I think we could. This is the part of the season where it makes or breaks the Chargers, because with Chiefs and Cowboys away, Houston at home, and Broncos away, that's a bit of a gauntlet. That is.
So we say Bills 11 and 6 then.
Yeah, Bills 11 and 6 in the 6th seed.
But they take the 6th seed. They lose the tiebreaker, which means they will face Jacksonville as it currently stands. The last seed, the last wild card.
Bills.
Well, I'm going to have to go Chargers.
The
Bills already in there, so...
Chargers, then. Whoever out of that lot we haven't picked. Because I think the teams that are in now are going to be the teams that finish. With the exception of maybe Pittsburgh.
KC can get in, but they're going to need multiple things to happen, and the Chargers are just going to have to bottom out in their final 4 games in order for that to happen. And I don't see it happening.
No,
Yeah,
I think Patrick Mahomes needs to suffer for once.
I think Nick's right. I
Suffer.
think the 7 that are in at the moment are going to be the 7 that remain in there. It'll be potentially in a different order. I don't see anyone else getting in there at all.
So what we're saying with the Chargers then? Because remember, KC needs to win outright, which is also the Chargers are on their schedule. But if the Chargers beat the Chiefs, that's it. The Chiefs are out. They can't do anything because they don't have tiebreakers over the Chargers.
They've already beaten the Chiefs once.
Yeah, I know. They own the tiebreaker, but then it will go on to point. I think it might go on to point differential.
I think the Chargers and the Bills might finish on the same record, but I don't know who that would then give the advantage to in terms of the seedings. If they both finish 11-6.
From what I can see, it could go to divisional record. So divisional conference record. Yeah, look at that. Chargers have got the better divisional and better conference record. So if I have to take a swing at it, I think the Chargers will win the tiebreaker on that one.
Okay, so that potentially would move Buffalo down to the 7 seed then. Chargers would get the 6 seed.
Like I said, I think the 7 that are there now.
I'm going to say Chargers 10. I'm going to say Chargers 10-7, but the Chiefs do not get in.
No, the Chiefs won't get in.
I think the 7 that are there now are going to be the ones in, unless the AFC North changes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I will say this now as well. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but if any team on the outside looking in is getting in, I think it's Miami.
They'll lose to Cincinnati next week.
They've got not a bad run, to be fair to them. They've got Steelers, they've got Bengals, they've got Bucks, and then they've got us in the final game.
They're not being the Buccaneers. They're going to have Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan back. That's massive for them.
Yeah.
So
are we just confirming that the Jets are not going to make the playoffs?
Where are they? Oh, there they are. No, they're already eliminated. There you go. Already eliminated.
Of course they are.
I was just taking the opportunity.
They're even tanking their own tanking.
The
this is what's funny about it. They're tanking their own tanking because they traded away Quinn and Williams and Sauce Gardner for all that draft capital, probably in mind of having the number 1 overall pick. And just as they do every year, they find ways to screw themselves out of having the top pick. And now, what are they? They're not even in. What are they? 4th bottom in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
So that even that backfires.
They have the number 7th pick at the moment.
This is what I mean.
Oh wow!
They have the number 7th pick, even though they're 3-10. Washington 3-10 are above them at pick 6. New Orleans are above them at 5, 3-10, and Cleveland are above them at pick 4 at 3-10. So the only 3-10 team below them is Arizona.
But remember that the Jets have got 3 first round. I've got how many first round picks they got over the next 2 years?
5.
They got 5 first round picks over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So they could easily trade up.
I'll give you a 1 in 5 that only one of them players works.
2 1s and 2 2s this year.
Yeah, so even they're trying to tank their season to rebuild, and they're not even going to get a high enough pick to justify the tanking because they just find ways to win shit games when they don't want to. Deary me.
Okay, so we've gone. So this is our run-in for the playoffs. Pats are the number 1 seed with 14-3. Broncos as the 2nd seed with 13-4. Jacksonville on the 3rd seed at 12-5. The Steelers squeaking by a 500 record at 9-8. The wild cards will be the Texans, 11-6. Bills then 11-6, but obviously because the Texans beat the Bills, they win the tiebreaker. And the Chargers will get through at 10-7 to win the division. To obviously get to the final wild card.
So what would that map out then? So the playoff games would then be Denver versus the Chargers. You'd then have Jacksonville versus
It'll
Buffalo.
It'll be
Jacksonville versus Buffalo, and then Pittsburgh versus Houston. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then we would then play the lowest remaining seed,
which I guarantee. Which I'm probably going to say.
I reckon that's going to
be the Bills.
Yeah, I think
we're going to have to play them a third fluff in time, which is why we have to beat them this Sunday. Because if we do, we can say, okay, we beat you in your backyard, and now you lost to us in our backyard. So guess what? Now you got to come back to us. Playoff time.
And then I reckon you're probably looking at Denver versus Houston, and then you're playing one of them in the AFC Championship.
I would rather play Houston because their offense is that bad. Denver can get some offense going, not that much. All I'll say is it's okay. If you're going to beat Houston, you need to put more than 20 points on them. You put more than 20 points on them, and I think you get the job done, even if you are battered and bruised from that front four.
That's the problem itself. Putting 20 points on Houston is the problem in itself.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do.
Hasn't Drake May carved up nearly every best fucking passing defense going in our schedule?
He hasn't come up on a defense like this one. I'm sorry, we have not faced a defense like that Houston defense. It is.
I mean, the Colts. I mean,
scary.
The Browns. The Browns pass rush gave us some problems. The Falcons pass rush gave us some problems.
But the difference is with Houston is not only do they have the ferocious pass rush up front with like Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson, they've got an all-pro corner in Derek Stingley, and they've got an all-pro nickel in Jalen Petrie as well. So like,
Petrie. Did anybody see the hit? Anybody see the hit on Rashee Rice on Sunday? Oh my! The best
comment of the weekend saying Rashee Rice now knows what it's like to be hit at high speed. Like it's karma.
You stole my bloody line. I was going to use that one. I was going to use that one as well.
Sorry, Carl. But no, yeah, I think Nick's right. Booty versus Stingley round 2. Yeah, we all know who won the first one.
Yes, Booty did. But also, the last time we played Houston, yes, we lost, 42-20, I think we lost. But that was Drake May's first game, and he didn't actually play that. Yes, he threw 2 touchdowns, but yesterday he threw an interception. But Drake didn't look that bad. The defense just looked shit.
Yeah, we couldn't stop anything that
game. But now it's the other way around. Whereas their defense is elite, but their offense can't get anything going.
Yeah, so, it's also a different matchup, right? Because if you play against Houston's offense, they've got a great wide receiver one in Nico Collins. You've then got Jaden Higgins on the other side, who, as much as we liked him coming out of the draft, right? But as much as he's not an elite receiver, he still has quite notable size. And you look how we defended Drake London with, Marcus Jones. Like that worries me in terms of a matchup, just based on the size disadvantage there. So that's what you got to contend with Houston. They don't have as good of a running game as Denver does. But then Denver, I've got Cortland Sutton, who's an all right wide receiver one. But then outside of that, it's kind of a random selection of guys. They're kind of the receivers are similar to us in a way. Like it's kind of whoever's open. Is it Franklin? Is it Mims? Is it Pat Bryant? Like who's it going to be? So they're 2 very, very different stylistic teams. But yeah, I think it will be one of them 2 that if we are to make the AFC Championship game, I think we're playing one of them 2.
We will see. We will see. Okay. I think we will call it a night on that one. I think that was a very good discussion on how we feel like we're going to do for the remaining of the season. Kieran, obviously you're not going to be on the previous show Friday because you're on IR and not be available for the Ravens preview either. But Nick's going to be on standby for me, so thank you very much, Nick.
Super sub.
Super sub. He's like
What's
Kevin.
the,
He's like Kevin De Bruyne when he's got enough juice in his legs. Anyway,
what's the plan, Carl? What is the plan for the kind of the Christmas schedule? So I'm not available for the next 3 shows, but obviously the Ravens review show will be likely on the Tuesday the 23rd. Are we running up until Christmas, or
well, I'm getting fucking pissed at Christmas, so I don't.
so are we planning?
We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it.
I was going to.
We'll
So
work
I was
something
just
out.
going to make the point is just that if we're not doing a show on the week of Christmas on the 23rd, then this will be my final show until after Christmas. So I was going to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, but we don't know just yet.
So, what was it? So the game against the Ravens is the 21st. I would probably say the review. We will do a review show on the 23rd because it is a Tuesday night, so that will help.
And then we'd normally do a preview on a Friday, but that's Boxing Day, so I don't think we'll be doing that. And it's the Jets as well, isn't it? So unless we do something on Saturday the 27th for the Jets.
It'll be a late one, but then again, it'll be in the day as well. So there's a good chance I might be able to get myself out of that one. But yeah, I think that's where we're at right now. We got Matt from Red, White, and Buffalo Blues, Bill's podcast coming on Friday night, so that should be a good one. Kim, before we get on out of here, what is your prediction for the Bills game this Sunday, where if we win, A, we're playoff bound, and B, the AFC East is back in its rightful home?
I'm going to go 27-24 New England. Andy Borregales walk-off field goal.
Ooh. That's closer than I thought you were going to pick.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it'll be...
going to put 24 points on us, considering we haven't given up 23 points at all season.
No, yeah, we haven't. But I feel like this one's going to be a real nail-biter because obviously we know we need to win the division. You know, what's on the line for us, but also the same for them as well. They know that they can't afford to drop this game if they want to win the division. So I'd expect it to be really close. I just think we'll edge it. And a Borregales walk-off would be fantastic.
I think I look back in week 5 where we went into that Buffalo game thinking we don't know what we still don't know what we are. I was like, well, let's just give it all we got. That's what we thought. Let's just give it all we got. And Drake May came out in the 4th quarter and then became the quarterback that we knew was going to be great. In this game, he now knows this defense. He now knows this secondary. He's now seen what this Bills team is capable of. I don't think he's going to be scared to throw the rock.
No.
He's thrown on every single secondary so far, and he hasn't been burnt once. He is the blueprint quarterback for the NFL right now, and the reason why I say that, no one can figure him out.
I'm also going to make another prediction that Travion Henderson has a 100-yard rushing game in this game because the Bills' run defense is... So
yes, but we can't run the ball for life depending on it. So it's a bit of a...
Henderson is going to rip off a couple of big runs. He's going to have a 100-yard game. I think that's going to be the case. Do I need to do my Blazing Six, Carl? Because obviously I've been doing that all season. Or will Nick take my place for that?
I haven't even sorted out the Blazing Six yet, so I'll text you the fixtures and we'll do and that. But Nick, you could join us for the first time, so we'll go through the rules on Friday and so on. And Matt's already done it.
No worries.
Right, we're getting on out of here, people. Thank you to everyone that's been watching. Thank you to everyone that's been listening. Please make sure that you smash the like button on the way out. Gronk spike the subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Follow us on our social media platforms. And make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple. We will be back on Friday night for the big preview against the Bills with our good friend Matt from the Red, White, and Buffalo Blues podcast. But for now, we're getting on out of here. Gentlemen, on three, we'll say Pats. 1, 2, 3.
Pats.